Well, would you look who it is? Look who it is. Look who I have sitting, not in front of me because of COVID and all that. But ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you so much for stopping by with us today. And this is the very, very first A Student's View. And it gives me the absolute utmost pleasure to introduce you to the one and the only Kacey Galvin, ladies and gentlemen. Kacey Galvin. Kacey! But really quickly, all you students who may have had the unfortunate pleasure of seeing me talking in your school, you know I talk about this book. So I talk about this book. Well, this is the famous Kacey. So, like, I suppose before I even get into this, Kacey, what's it like to have somebody say you inspired a whole book you did? How does that make you feel, fathead? Sorry, Kacey, sorry.
It gives me such a fat head, but I always say, like, I didn't inspire it. I say everyone inspired it because I don't want to seem like I have a fat head, but I know I do have a fat head.
You don't have a fat head. But can I just say, we're not even 2 seconds into this and already you're proving why I did this. Imagine not taking the credit for something and giving it to somebody else. Kacey, unfortunately, for those who haven't been at one of my talks, for those who maybe didn't read the introduction to this book, I mean, I'll start this off and I'll tell you about the day we met, the day me and you met for the first time. And I had given a talk in your school. Actually, we're going to give a big shout out. You're going to give their names. I'm just going to call them the two bodyguards. Who's the two bodyguards?
Jessica Gifford and me, Riley.
You know, I love you. You're amazing. So at the end of most of my talks, the students will come up and they'll thank me or talk to me or whatever. And on this particular day, folks, Kacey came up and she had two bodyguards either side of her. And I always say that if I got it wrong, I reckon these two bodyguards were going to kill me. And look, Kacey and me are very close, and Kacey won't mind me saying the following, but she was quite upset this day. In fact, she was sobbing her heart out crying. And the first words that Kacey Galvin ever said to me, ever, was hello, obviously. And then she said, thank you so much for telling me I'm enough. I really needed to hear that today. And I wasn't really copping what was going on. And I said, Jesus, you're more than enough. And then Kacey said, I'm sorry that I'm crying like this, Gary. It's just my best friend took his own life 2 weeks ago. So, Kacey, in your own time, would you like to just maybe tell us about that tragic moment in your life?
His name was Dara, and I knew him for a few months, and we always talked all the time. And I actually developed feelings for him because I was 13 at the time. And I developed feelings for him, and he developed feelings back. And we were just talking, and we always planned to meet up. And the day that we were supposed to meet up, we got into a big fight, and I can't even remember what it was about. But that big fight led into us not talking ever again. And I said so much terrible things that I wish I could apologize for. And we blocked each other on everything, never talked again. I was like, oh, I'm going to kill him, hate him. And then 2 months later, someone who I wasn't even friends with at the time, they texted me and they said, I know you were talking to him because I was so in love with him. I was obsessed with him. He was gorgeous. He was such a gorgeous boy. And he was so nice. And I talked about him to everyone that I walked into. I'd be like, oh my God, guess who I'm talking to? Like, I would just always show him off. And she was like, I know, like, you were talking to him. I know we're not really that close, but I just seen it on someone's social media that they're after posting rest in peace. I don't know if it's true, but I don't think that would be a joke. And then I went, and then I found out it was true. And I never found out how he actually done it because I never wanted to know, because I would never want to know if he was in pain.
Of course.
I talked to his friend that posted it, and he was like, oh, I know you were talking, like, he told me about it. I'm really sorry for what happened. Just now he didn't hate you and all. But for me, as a 13-year-old girl,
it must have been so hard, Kacey. That must have been so tough for you.
It was, because I've never actually had a proper boyfriend before, never anything like that. And then that happened. I would always have little things like kissing boys here and there, but that was my proper I invested time in. And then that happened. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to talk about. And I think
just the whole fact that, just to kind of reiterate for everyone at home, and we're not going to talk about that young man's age, but let's just talk about your age. You were 13 years of age at the time. If we could live in a perfect world, nobody would ever have to deal with suicide. Wouldn't that be amazing? But imagine at 13 and this is what you're dealing with already. I know, Kacey, that on the day you said something to me, and I've said this to you before, but I need you to hear this again, and I'm hoping when your mum and dad see this, two amazing people, by the way, that they understand that their 13-year-old daughter said the following. You said to me, do you remember this, Kacey? You said, I want everyone to see these tears because I don't want anyone to ever feel what I'm going through at the moment. I'm actually going to cry. Oh, and those words, Kacey, they've stuck with me to this day, that a 13-year-old girl could have that empathy, could have that care for somebody else. And that's you, Kacey. And you are the reason, Kacey, that I went off and I did this. And you're right, everyone did come together for that. But if I hadn't met you that day, and I really wish, I've always said this, I wish we talked about other stuff. I wish I was just helping you with some other stuff. But this is the reality. We had to deal with that. So, Kacey, seriously, you completely blew my mind. Now, Kacey, I know we've had private talks, and I know I've asked your permission to say this, but I know you needed help, and then you went and got counsel. And I suppose my question to you as a student, Kacey, is how important is it for people to talk about how they feel? But not just that, as a student, how important is it for students to open up and talk about how they're feeling, either professional, because I know you'd encourage going to professional help and seeking out professional help, or even just their mom, their dad, their brothers, their sisters, their aunties, their uncles, anyone that's good in their life. How important is that, Kacey?
It is very important, because if you keep it all into yourself, you're just going to explode. Like, someone could say the smallest thing and you're just going to fire back, and they're going to be like, whoa, where did that come from? Because if you're suffering in silence, no one can help you. Like, you're just suffering in silence, and no one wants you to suffer in silence. Anyone would be so thankful to help. Like, I didn't go professional. I went to school counselling, and I talked to you and my uncles and all, and it helped so much. But you wouldn't even think it, because you're like, no one cares, no one wants to know, I'm going to keep this to myself. Like, as when I told you, or as I went to the school counsellor, they were like, oh my God, stop for a second, breathe. You've been through so much and you're just firing at me, and I can't even give a voice back because you've been through so much.
Do you know that I was worried about that this morning with you? Because Kacey, guys, right? Kacey, sometimes if I'm on the phone or I'm talking to her, or I meet her when I go to the Holy Family, it's like I see Kacey coming, and it's like, okay, tense yourself, because she's just going to go, hey, Gary, I was just over there, and then back over, and he went, and I go, ah! And I'm like, oh, me fucking G, oh my God. But incredible. But I think what you're saying, Kacey, is so true and so poignant, that you found the strength. I think, Kacey, would you agree that some students think it's weak to ask for help? That's ridiculous, Kacey.
Completely.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Because actually finding the strength to go to mom or dad, or to go to the counsellor in school, who is a professional, that's what they do. It takes so much strength to walk in and go, I've got a huge problem and I need to talk about it. But I think you've just encouraged so many people, Kacey, to do it. It's that lovely face of yours, with that lovely voice of yours, but with that complete heart. And remember, I don't want to give your age away. You never give a lady's age away, but I know that you're heading into 6th year now in your next school year, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is going to be incredible. You're going to be amazing. But that, again, will give the people at home an idea of how young this young lady is and how thoughtful she is. So we're going to move on, Kacey, because unfortunately, with YouTube being the way it is, we have to think of time. People get bored, so we have to keep them fucking interested. Anyway, I've got my questions here. Anyway, I'm just going to just ruin the whole moment. My questions are here. What I do know is that all this trauma that you suffered as a young lady, and your friends, and everyone associated with that beautiful young man, Darren, and may he rest in peace, by the way. It took so much out of you. And yet, Kacey, this floors me. I know that currently you're doing everything that you can to try to pursue a career as a counsellor, which I'm sure that the people that are watching this right now, I've got a lump in my throat and a tear in my eye. By the way, folks, I'm probably going to cry. This is Kacey we're talking to. She's incredible. Maggie from Galway, who would encourage people to turn their pain into power. And you're literally doing that. So I suppose my question is, tell me about being a counsellor, and would you say that's your dream job? Is that the dream, Kacey? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I'm pursuing it so much. I've gone to so much career guidance meetings. I never, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a beautician and like do eyebrows and like have all that stuff. But then
you do a job on me, I'm in bits.
Oh my God, yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
Trim those eyebrows. I need
Is that the dream then, Kacey? Does it require a lot of work? I'd assume it requires college and it requires a lot of work. Yeah.
8 years of college, but I'm looking into become a social worker, because 8 years of college, my mom's like, you can't even sit in a classroom for an hour. So I don't think that's right, but I could do it in my own time. But the quicker solution would be to go to college for 2 to 4 years, get my master's, and become a social worker and help children, because that's what I've always wanted to do, is help children and adolescents, like teenagers.
That's amazing.
That's what I wanted to focus in on. So I'm going to look towards being a social worker.
So that young lady that I just mentioned there, that said turn your pain into power, her name is Maggie. I haven't spoken to Maggie in a while, but I'm just going to blow your mind. Maggie is doing what you want to do. Maggie has just finished college, has done the 4 years to be a social worker, got a job with Tulsa, is working doing exactly what you want to do. Maggie is 24. She's an amazing human being. She knows all about you. She knows everything. You never met her. She knows all about you. So I'm going to get you two guys to have a chat. Maggie is so helpful, and please God, she'll be able to tell you the right way to go about things. Now, she's from Galway. She went to Athlone, but the colleges are the same. The courses are the same. So I'm going to hook you up, buddy. We're going to do that.
Oh, thank you.
And yet again, Kacey, what an incredible thing to turn your pain into power. A few years ago that this happened, and you're still on this fight, which leads me on to the next question. I've asked you for some photographs, and this is where I'm going to embarrass your dad. And as you can see, folks, here's Kacey with her dad. A beautiful man, by the way. Actually, just a very funny story for you. Kacey's mum and dad are incredible. And when I launched this book, I had to have Kacey there. Actually, here's a photograph of me and Kacey. A very emotional night. And Kacey stood beside me in Croke Park as I launched this book. But obviously, I had to get her permission to come. And at the time, as we worked out, Kacey was 13 years of age. I couldn't talk to her online. So she had sent me a message. And I remember running into Antoinette and going, this is her. This is the girl. This is the girl. That's what do I do? I can't send her. And Antoinette said, send her a message and say, can you ask your mum or your dad to ring me, please? Of course, Kacey, being Kacey, goes to dad and says, hey, dad, there's a 40-year-old ex-prisoner who's been talking to me online and he wants to talk to you. I'll never forget your poor dad going, I said, how are you? And he went, who's this? And I was like, yeah, I'm the 40-year-old ex-prisoner who's talking to your daughter online. I mean, come on, I should be sent back to Mountjoy. But what's incredible about this is not only did they give me permission to speak to you, but they also gave me permission for you to come to the lunch. And moreover, they came as well. And it was a beautiful night. Now, the reason I'm talking about your dad actually is because moving on from the fact that you want to become a counsellor, this trauma that you went through, it has sparked so much wanting you to help. Isn't that a fair thing to say, Kacey? And I know that you do so much to kind of bring with your social media. I've seen you in school with the girls and with the boys in school, and everything you involve yourself in is based around trying to bring awareness to mental health, to positive mental health. And actually, as an example of this, I know that recently yourself and your dad just did, as you can see by the t-shirt that she's wearing, guys, they just did Darkness into Light. I was actually following your dad's progress on Facebook, but I was just wondering, could you tell me this year, Kacey, how was Darkness into Light this year? Because obviously this year was Darkness into Light / COVID. So how did it go this year?
I've never done Darkness into Light, and this was my first year doing it. And I can even tell it was such a difference, because like I would have loved to drown out to where it is and like done it with like everyone. It was raining and we just like walked around my estate because we didn't know what to do, and it was all cloudy, so you couldn't take a picture of the sunlight. So my dad was like, what do we do? So when we got home, we took a photo in our t-shirts, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning and I look horrendous. And he posted on his Facebook, and I was like, I'm going to kill you, but it didn't work out. He still posted it. But it was just so weird to see, like, just me and my dad just in our own huddle, and then watching everyone else in their own huddle. I was like, I would have loved to be with so much people together doing it. And making
having
such a bigger
said that,
impact.
what you did, and to everybody that took part this year, wow, just wow. I've always said about this country, yeah, we can be arseholes and we can be gobshites and this, that, and the other, but when we need to come together, oh, well, and I think you and your dad were 2 soldiers in that army that night, and I think it's beautiful what you've done, and I think that's a beautiful way of describing it. I hope you caught that, folks, when Kacey said, it was so surreal for me and my dad to be in our little bubble, and I think it's beautiful that you did this with your dad as well. But you know what? Mom's lives matter too. You know, moms are cool as well. So a big shout out to Kacey's mom as well. You know, you rock, girl. You rock. Anyway, this is amazing. I don't know about you guys at home, but I'm having an absolute ball here. I don't care how many people are watching this video. I am loving this. Okay. Now, speaking of the Jesus COVID and all that jazz, right? I couldn't have a student here in front of me and not ask the questions that everyone wants to know. So in your own words, Kacey, and this is just for you. Don't worry about your friends. This is just you. Can you try, because I know it's going to be hard, to give me and those people watching at home, all 6 of them, hi. Can you tell these people, so what was it like to go to school during the COVID, during the pandemic? So there's the 2 areas that are online. So you did a shitload of this stuff with Zoom. And then can you just tell us what it was like? And it's nobody's fault. This was just the world we lived in, having to wear a mask for your entire school day. We'll start with the Zoom calls. So how did you find them, Kacey?
I found them really like they were like such a choice. Like it was your choice. Like either you could go or you just hang up and you get in trouble. Like skills shouldn't be a choice because every kid and every teenager is going to say no. They're just going to hang up. Like I've done it. I won't even lie. I did it so much times. You get a religion call. You get a religion call or a maths call.
I shouldn't be laughing, but I am.
At 10 o'clock in the morning, you'd get a maths call and you're like, do I want to do all of it? Nah, I'm going to go back to
bed. For any of Kacey's amazing teachers from the unbelievably incredible school in the Holy Family, she didn't mean a word of that. Leave her alone. So that was the online. And did you find, Kacey, it was just so distracting because you're in your bedroom where you have your stuff. You just have your stuff. Like in this room, I've got guitars here on the wall and I've got my telly and whatever. So if I'm doing something like, and I've got the attention span of a fucking goldfish sometimes. So you could be teaching me about quantum physics now, and I'd be listening, going, and then the guitar, I just go, oh look, a butterfly, and I'm gone. So I think was it difficult to kind of keep your concentration during online classes through Zoom?
Oh my God. It was so hard because I have a little brother in second class.
Okay.
And I remember, I think I was on a business call or something, or like business, and I didn't know what was going on. You could just hear my mum and dad screaming their head off each other. Absolutely going at it about what a cow is in Irish because they both didn't know.
My God. But isn't this the thing? I was talking to a principal and he said some of the, I shouldn't be laughing, but some of the funny things I've seen on Zoom calls when the poor kid is there because life is going on behind you. Your mum and dad are having that discussion about what is cow in Irish? Oh God. But no, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? I don't know what it is.
It's bow, I think. And my mum was trying to say my mum was trying to say it was someone else, and then my dad actually had the right answer, and my mum was like, "No, I'm right."
And you're trying to do business.
I'm sitting up in my room going, "Are they actually having an argument about a cow?"
I love it. I think that you're talking on behalf of so many students right now that are watching this, going, high five, girl. I can relate to that, but I think this bit is a little bit more serious. I think that a lot of adults didn't realize how, I personally feel, how difficult having to wear a mask from 8 o'clock in the morning. I know, obviously, you've got your breaks and stuff like that. What was that like, Kacey?
Oh my God, it was torture. I couldn't breathe. Like, I actually thought I was going to die.
I came to see you one day and you had a mask on and you were actually quite upset about it, if I remember at the time.
I couldn't breathe. Like, you'd go out and you'd get your air because you're obviously going to pull it down like everyone did. You're going to pull it down when you're just walking around, like going to your next class to just have a moment to breathe. And then when you put it back up, it's like all the heat is just, and you're just sitting there and you have to sit there and you can't complain. Otherwise, you're going to get kicked out of the classroom or you're going to get in trouble. You know,
I stick up for both. I stick up for teachers sometimes. I mean, I'm more on the student side, but sometimes I stick up for teachers. And I suppose they're dealing with, you get like, everyone has to wear the mask. That was a novelty at the start. So there'd be fellas saying, "Oh, look at you with your bleeding mask. You shut your bleeding mouth," and all that stuff going on. So they had to come down hard at the start. But I just remember doing a talk during the COVID. I remember talking to you about it. And I had a little video up on Facebook after it. And I said, and of course, I won't course now, but I said, that's not effing school, what I saw today. That's not normal. And I just think that you guys have been asked a lot. The students in this country were asked a lot during this pandemic. And I personally believe you did fantastic because you were also to blame, because you were meeting up with friends and all that kind of stuff. And, the one thing that me and Kacey have spoke about before, and I'm going to say it again, and hopefully you guys are listening to students at home, but when all this is cleared and let's get back to hugging each other and high-fiving each other. And let's not forget how important that is because I'm so afraid that we're going to become a very cold race as we move forward, So I'm going to throw a quick question at you, right? Not a question. I'm going to say a statement, right? And all I want you to do is I want you to tell me honestly, what's your answer to this statement? This is a general statement. This isn't meant by everybody, but I've heard it a lot. The youth of today are moany little shits. My question to you is, how would you answer that statement, Kacey?
I would say, no, we're not moany little shits because there is a reason behind their moaniness. Like, I don't think moaniness. Like, I don't think I've ever been a cheeky little bitch to my mom or my dad.
No.
Without a reason, unless they've gotten on my nerves.
I'd say you're hard work, girl. I'd say you're hard work. Anyway, go on.
I would never speak back to an adult because that's not respectful. I would never be rude to teachers, principals, anyone, unless there was a reason for it. Like, I am someone that, as you know, I keep everything to myself, and someone could just poke me and I'd be like, "How dare you touch me like that?" like, I
This is why I love this girl, by the way, folks. This girl just gives it. She's amazing. You know, like when I did Coffee with Gary, it had to be Jackie Fox. That's the first interview. But when I was doing a student's view, it had to be Kacey. It just had to be you. That's an incredible thing that you're saying there. You know, I hate excuses, Kacey. I can't stand them. Own your shit. Always personal responsibility. That's what I'm all about. But that you were born into social media, Kacey. You had no idea of a life before social media, okay? I know from having personal chats with you that are personal that we're not going to talk about now, but that you sometimes struggle with yourself and feeling better, good about yourself and this, that, and the other. And a lot of this stuff, Kacey, relates to how you're portrayed online, isn't that right? And how you're viewed online. So the youth of today are moany little shits. My answer, do you remember the night we launched this book and I started giving out to all the people, all the adults in the room?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because I got in a bad humor that night and I told them, if you want to know how your kids are, get that out of your fucking hand. Ask them what's going on and just listen. Because that's when I did that, I was shocked. I was just shocked about what was coming back. And you had a lot of people say, oh, well, in my day, but your day is gone. This is today. Let's help the youth of today rather than calling them only little shits. That's just my opinion. That's a brilliant answer, Kacey. And no, Kacey, on top of that, Kacey, you most certainly aren't rude. I know your mum and dad might disagree with me, but you're not rude. I think you're incredible, actually. Kacey, if you could do or change one thing, right, one thing that would help with positive mental health for students in this country, because we know Pieta House and all these amazing organizations are under so much pressure. So if you could be president for the day and you could do or change just one thing that would help all students who are suffering with mental health, what would be your idea?
My idea would be on every social media platform that you could not say one negative thing.
Oh, well.
Or because if you say one negative thing, or like even, you know, on Instagram, those polls, if you vote no, and like the person's going to be looking at that and then I'm like, oh my God, why are they voting no? Like I've done that so many times.
My God, I never thought of that. Wow.
It like sticks in their head for ages because that's happened to me so much times, and people would like hit off by accident, but you're like, oh my God, they're voting no. Like they think I'm ugly. Like they think, oh my God. So if I was to be president for the day, I would like actually delete social media. Like I think it has so much positivities to like bring awareness to things, but it is such a downfall to destroy such beautiful things.
You've just gone into the next question, so let's keep going. My next question was about social media and all that kind of stuff. And thanks, Kacey. Kacey, first of all, wow, about them polls on Facebook. Oh, sorry, on Instagram. I'm so silly. I never thought of how it would feel if you said no. And more importantly, I say if you did a Kacey, it's usually say you have to get your hair done or something like that. You know, I'm just picking this out of the sky here. Why would you say fucking no? You know, this brings in this culture, doesn't it, Kacey, that you're talking about? I think when what's your man's name that invented Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg. When he invented Facebook, I don't think he invented it to do bad. I think we can all agree with that. No. But he didn't factor in that it was going to be given to arseholes. It was going to be given to bullies. It was going to be given to really, because it's free, it's going to be given to really nasty people. You've blown my mind and you've made me think a lot more about that, likes. And I hope everyone was listening to that, because that's a young girl talking about what we kind of just gloss over, us adults sometimes maybe, and we don't get social media. And sometimes the answer is, delete the app. Don't be on social media. But I think, Kacey, is it fair to say if you were to do that, unless you were getting severely bullied, I would tell you to come off social media, you know that. But if you delete Instagram, are you then a bit of a freak because you don't have Instagram?
But like some people would be like, why doesn't she have Instagram? That's like a bit like odd.
It's a bit sketchy.
But then other people would understand, like, oh, she obviously doesn't have it for a reason, but then they'd want to know the reason.
Want to know why. Yeah, exactly. You said it brilliantly there. Social media, this is social media, what we're doing now. When you think about it, Zoom is starting to social media and we're using it for good reasons and we're positive. I see your stuff. What I love about your Instagram, Kacey, is you post whenever you want, not feeling like you have to post every day. And it's usually a lovely selfie or something really positive, you know, a positive affirmation, a positive quote. I think that's wonderful. That's what I try to, you know how I rock. I only do one fucking post a week. Thank God, says the rest of you, except these videos. But I try to make it positive. Yeah, shut up, you, I'm telling you. I'll come to your house. So I think we're both agreed. Social media is yay, but when it's in the hands of arseholes, it's nay.
Yeah.
Which actually leads me on to this one. So, Kacey, what would be the one bit of advice that you would give a fellow student right now who might be struggling, who might be getting trolled online? Well, actually, we'll start with struggling. Who's just struggling to get up in the morning and is just finding it a little bit difficult. If you could talk to that boy or girl right now, what's the first thing you'd say to them?
I would say I understand how it is very hard to get up out of bed when you're struggling. But do you know the thing you always do to me where you make me look in the mirror and say at least like two nice things about myself? When I started doing that, I was like, this man is a psychopath. Like, what is he doing? But as further as I went on, it actually really helped. And I didn't think it would. So my voice.
I'm not just a loud, annoying agent. You
know. There is actually ways from your words. It is so, like, when you first said it to me, I was like, he actually thinks I'm going to stand in the mirror and be like, you're gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're massive. When I first did it, I felt so weird. I was like, oh my God, I'm full of myself. I'm so full of myself. And then when I started doing it more, like the days I would be really struggling, I would just be like, oh, like my eyebrows. It could be like the weirdest thing. It could be like, oh, like my socks, they match. just one nice thing. And then you go into school and then someone's like, why are you in a good mood for me socks match today?
I love it. Kacey, I swear to God, I know it's weird. I know I'm 42 and you're going into 6th year, right? But you're one of my best mates, buddy. You really are. I mean, you always, I'm getting upset. You always put a smile on my face. And yeah. You inspired that book. But you know what makes me proud, Kacey? And I know any students that are good enough to be watching this now that have had me in their school, they know. They'd prove it. They'd all stand behind me and say, you want to hear what he talks about you? He's so proud of you. And I am so proud of you, Kacey, because what people don't need to know on this call, because it's none of their business, but you have your struggles. And it's not just what we talked about, the tragedy that you suffered at a young age. You've just got the normal shit. The stuff that affects adults as well, affects everybody. Of not feeling too good today. Don't feeling like you look too good, which, by the way, everyone at home, I'm sure you'll all agree, she's gorgeous. This girl's incredible. You go through that, and I think people are afraid to admit that sometimes. And with me and you, let's just be honest. You weren't always a ninja at the start. You wouldn't talk to me. You wouldn't talk to your mom. You wouldn't talk to your dad because you thought that's the right thing to do. So they wouldn't understand. You know that's bullshit. But the way you turned it around, I've watched you just growing from strength to strength to strength, and it's just been an incredible time being your friend. So yeah, I know it's a bit weird. Please, Dad, don't think that I'm still the 40-year-old prisoner talking to your daughter. But I don't know. You're just, I class you as one of my closest friends, and actually your skill, the Holy Family, I want to give a massive shout out to. And Caroline, you left me alone when I needed to be left alone, Kacey. Did Caroline? No. Anyway. The Holy Family School, I love that school, and I just want to thank them for all the times they've had me in to have talks, because it's the most school I've ever given a talk in. Anyway, so Kacey, we're coming towards the end of this, which I don't want to end at fucking all, right? But I couldn't let you go without testing you a little bit.
No.
You ready, Kacey? So what I want you to do, right? I want you to take a big breath in, hold it, breathe out. Clear your mind. Just clear it. Stop thinking. Because I'm going to throw 5 questions at you. And you have to answer them fucking straight away. None of this Googling. What did he say? None of this. I want your first answer. The first thing that pops into your head. Are you ready, Kacey Galvin?
Yes.
Are you really ready, Kacey? You have no idea what I'm going to ask you, do you, Kacey? Here we go, folks. Here we go. You ready, Kacey? We're going to learn so much about you right now. First question, king or Teo?
Teo.
Ooh, okay, drink a glass of stale milk or eat monkey brains?
Glass of stale milk.
Be filthy rich but unhappy, or be happy and have just enough?
Be happy and just enough.
Yes. Your favourite song right now?
Dance Monkey.
Oh, good chill. Last question. Are you enough?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Do you know what, Kacey? This has been incredible. You've set the bar so high for a student's view. I couldn't have anyone else as the first one because of everything, because of our story, but because of your story. I'm going to leave the last words with you. But before I do, I'd just like to thank you, Kacey. I'd like to thank you for being so honest, not just on this student's view, but you've been so honest with me since I met you. When you're struggling now, you tell mom and dad, you tell your uncles, you tell whoever it is, teachers and myself. And that gives you the ninja status in my life. I use you and your story to help other kids, to be quite honest with you. And I talk about how you found the strength inside yourself to make sure you were okay. You were selfish, like that last video I put up. You were selfish, and I love that. But before I go, I know you want to say that you love your mom and dad and give them a thank. And I suppose the last question I want to ask you as well, who's your hero, Kacey? And I know the answer to it, but I want to give you the opportunity to speak and say what you want to say, and also say goodbye to everyone as well, because it's your show, girl. So go for it.
My hero would have to be my dad. He has been my best friend since I was born. And as much as I physically want to kill him, he is like me. He is me in a boy. We're so stubborn. He has been my best friend for so long. And I'm so grateful, because I know everyone doesn't get that opportunity to have that relationship with their dad. And I feel so terrible. I wish I could just give a lend of my dad to those people for an hour a day, like have him, he does my brains in. But I am honestly so grateful. And when I was going through everything, I pushed him away probably more than I pushed anybody away, because he was like, I'm here, just talk to me, please, just talk to me. And he would beg me to just talk to him, and I just wouldn't. And then he just wanted to know what was going on, and I just wouldn't give it to him. And then when I finally did, he was just such a happy, like, he was so happy. Like, when I was going through everything,
he loves you so much, and so does your mum. But he loves you so much, and he was so concerned for you, you know?
Yeah, he just wanted to know what was going on, and I wouldn't give it to him. But when I finally started acting like me again over the last course of a year, he was just been such a happy man. Like when I was going through it, I was actually dragging him through it as well. And I only realised that when I was being selfish and came to the end, and I was like, hold on a second, just because I'm going through something, just because Dara passed away, and I feel like I'm the burden of it. I don't need to make anyone else feel the burden of it, because I know how that feels.
Folks, I didn't think she'd drop a fucking golden bomb like that at the end. Just because I was going through it doesn't mean I had to drag everyone else through it as well. I think that's an incredible way to end this student's view. A little crumbs for thought for anyone out there. Kacey has been the absolute benchmark of what to do when you're struggling. It doesn't matter how old you are. Not to do your dad or your mom's thinking for them. Ask them, tell whoever it is in your life, I'm there for you. There's always someone there for you. But again, this young lady who at 13 years of age made the comment, I want everyone to see these tears so no one ever has to go through it again. To whatever age you are now, never tell your age. Lady never tells her age. To be able to turn around and say, I was thinking that I was going through what I did, but I didn't need to drag my dad through it too. Kacey, that's the reason why you had to be the first student's view. Kacey Galvin, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for doing this with me this morning. Because it's early, folks. I got her out of bed. She's on her holidays. She's on her holidays. You are amazing. You know the way I end all my messages to students, don't you? Well, I'm physically going to say the words to you now, rather than write them. And I always put the you in big letters, don't I? So I say, you are beautiful. You are strong. You are unique. You are intelligent. You are amazing. You are you. And Kacey Galvin, you're enough. And I love you so much. And thank you so much for doing this with me, Kacey, because you know what? I know there's a lot of people that are just out to fall and head over heels in love with you. Ladies and gentlemen, can you all be upstanding for the absolutely fucking deadly, the one and only ninjas since ninjas and fucking ninja, Kacey Galvin, folks. Kacey, thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, chicken. Bye.
Bye, love you.
Love you. Bye.